what is the difference between an advisor and a coach, or an advisor or a mentor, right? Because we have a lot of mentors on board, we have a lot of advisors also on board at our incubators, but a lot of times we don't know how to differentiate between an advisor or a consultant versus a mentor or a coach. So while I put that question out, and I allow you guys to just think it through and let me know what is the difference between an advisor or a consultant versus a mentor or a coach. Let me just share something. This is something that we've been sharing, right? You guys, incubators, are the real champions of the startup ecosystem. For the selfless support that each of you share, because all that you guys keep thinking is how do I support these 10 startups, those 20 startups scale up, right? And you guys never get the recognition that you deserve in really creating so many ventures from our city, from our state. So at this point, I would just want to introduce you to a framework that we would be, going through or utilizing for the next 7 weeks, right? So these are the 7 points that are very important that we will be touching over the next 7 weeks. Is there something that you would like to share on what, in your opinion, is the difference between an advisor or a consultant versus a mentor or a coach?
I think I've shared some text on the messaging, so that gives a context. But then to be a little more hands-on and practical, right? If you're going to engage a IP person or an accountant or an auditor, right? They play the role of an expert or a consultant, because you ask them something, they will take a section number ABC and say, under the section ABC, this is what is right and this is what is wrong, you should do this. That's what is a consultant. So they are called as experts. As incubators, we may want to pay them for a fee for their work. So if you get someone who has done an agri startup, a successful agri startup, and ask the founder to coach a biotech startup, now here he is not going to have anything about biotech, but he would probably know the bigger level challenges and things that a person may face as a co-founder, and give his perspective, and you will have to contextualize to your problems. That's where a mentor would come. So all the mentors that we have in our incubator, they're all successful startup founders, and they run their own businesses. So you go and ask them questions and they will bring their perspective. That's the mentor. Who's a coach? Coach is someone who probably has played the expert and the mentor sometime, but has a broad perspective on very many things, but he doesn't know exactly what it is. So for example, you go to a saint or you go to a 70-year-old man, right? He's not going to give you every interesting information, but it's called the Zen. If you look at any of the Zen stories, right? So they are going to ask you questions and say, did you try this? What do you mean by this? Have you factored this, and ask questions? And those questions will get you aha moments and make you think through this. I believe that's what a coach does. A coach is for life. So many of the CEOs, at the board level, they have board level coaches, and they don't know a bit about the business, but still they are CEOs coaches. So that's how we believe we should structure. And there may be a few changes here and there. I'd probably ask the community to share their perspective.
Adding one more dimension to this elaborate discussion. So I would like to bring in the concept of spatio-temporal aspect. So in my opinion, consultants and coaches, they are from the dimension of time, they are short framed. So they can change over time, and it's usually, and mentors and advisors, on the contrary, they travel along with a specific problem over a relatively longer time frame. And likewise, from the dimension of space, mentors and advisors are not necessarily, but typically in-house. You always have a list of these people whom you regularly contact with, whereas consultants and coaches are drawn from external sources. So this is a small...
No, absolutely. So I think I'm totally aligned with both of what you said. In fact, I've also always believed that, when you have a very specific challenge or specific problem, you move to an advisor or a consultant, right? You go with the problem and you expect him to come out with the right answer or help you out with a solution, right? And I'm sure, I think that's something exactly what Mr. Kumar also said, in his chat. I just read it. And with respect to a coach, you're while you're not expected to give the right answer, you're expected to definitely be there for the for the mentee as a sounding board, right? So the idea is to help them with the right direction and not the right answer necessarily, right? So I think that's why I just wanted to bridge both what Narayanan and Kumar said. As a coach, you're not expected to keep giving the right answers to the questions that your startups will have, but you're expected to keep guiding them in the right direction, right? A simple example is, if your startup wants help with filing his income tax, you need to guide him to the right CA who will help him with it. You don't have to go there and help him file it, right? So the crux I'm trying to build here is, the role that all of you play in the incubators are typically coaches, and not of advisors, right? And it is very important. It is a
Well
very
said.
important role.
No, I think you made a fantastic point that all the incubation CEOs and incubation managers play a role of a coach. I think that's a fantastic statement. I have not heard this clarity from anybody who's